going to do is spend about the next 30 minutes to go through the application and cover the points that Brian just covered. And what we'll do is I'll show you many of the different features and functions of how the application can be used by different people in your selling channel. So this application is designed to be used by dealers, distributors, but also it can be used internally for salespeople, customer service reps. And so, as Brian mentioned, the application starts with a login, and it is a web-based application. So all the user needs is access to the internet. This might be a link off of your existing website for a dealer or distributor area. And when they log into the system, it's going to provide the user easy access to navigate around the system. This is the dashboard page that has the main areas that the user may need to navigate to. The core of the application is around quoting and ordering, and so we'll spend most of our time in there. There are some supplemental areas for supporting data, but then also the portal concept allows the user to access any information that they might need to do during their typical day. So for example, you can have collateral, and so if the user, maybe the dealer distributor needed access to some documents while they were here, they can click on the collateral link. This will bring up a list of whatever documents that you might want to share, and the user can simply click on one of those and it'll open up some type of collateral. So very simple for the user to navigate around and have easy access to whatever they need. Additionally, you'll notice that some of these have blue boxes. These are just examples of extensions. The application can be easily branded and can have additional capabilities that you might want to supply your sales channel. So you can, of course, have your logos, you can have your color schemes and your branding, as well as any of the terminology and any additional options that you might need. So we have a few different examples here that, again, just to show some capabilities. What I'll do is act like a user typically would and go through a typical quoting or ordering process. As Brian mentioned, the application works on any browser as well as on tablet devices, and that's why you see some of the buttons, so that if I was using an iPad or an Android tablet, I can do this same thing while I'm traveling. If I wanted to just add a new quote from here, I can click on the new quote link, or I can just go and look at my existing quotes, and this will bring up a list of all of my existing quotes that I've been working on. And throughout the system, there's very simple searching and sorting. And so as I start typing some information, if I was looking for something, I can easily just type in a few characters and find whatever quote that I might be looking for. That simple searching exists throughout the whole system, but I'll just create a new quote and walk through that process. On the new quote page, it starts by allowing me to choose the customer for this quote, and I can pick from a list of existing customers that I work with. The system also allows me to add new prospects on the fly and even quote to a brand new prospect. So I'll just pick an existing customer. That'll pull in all of their information. I can issue a quote for this, any type of quote name that I want to track this by. And then you'll notice different areas of the quote, but it puts me right in my line item so I can quickly start to build out this quote. So what you kind of notice here right away is very simple and easy for the user. There's not a lot of things that they have to fill in. There's not tons of questions. We want to make it as streamlined and easy for the different types of users to go about building a quote. And then provide them with a lot of different capabilities and functionality around that process. And so here, as I start to choose some different items, you'll notice again different options for the user. This supports both a novice user that only uses the system occasionally, or also more of an expert user. So there's very many options that the user could pick. They may want to just search for products, again, by doing some simple searching. So, again, type in maybe a few characters and find the product based on that. Or I could use the magnifying glass to do more of a search, and that search will let me browse and find whatever product that I want based on different categories, where you would have your products broken out into multiple categories, and the user can drill in and find what they're looking for, again, while maybe doing some different searching. Additionally, if you'd like to provide more capability, you could add a product catalog in here. Now, this is an area where many of our customers have a different idea of what a product catalog would be in their particular industry, and so this can be tailored to meet your particular needs for your users. In my example here, I've added in just a very graphical or visual catalog to have all those categories of products where they can drill in and maybe look at different types of products that might be available based on product images, and continue to navigate around until they find maybe the product that they're interested in. So many different ways for the user to go about choosing products, and they can pick whatever they're most comfortable with. So as we start to build out this quote, again, I can certainly find a variety of different products. In this case, I might just want to look for a particular product. And when I find that product, I can go ahead and just add this in. So this is just a simple example of a standard item. Maybe I know the part number or a part of the part number, and I enter that quickly, and it just puts it into my quotation. So any standard, either accessory products or spare parts, can all be part of the quote. Of course, Channel Sales also manages your configured products as well, so using the configurator from here, I can go through a configuration session. So if I wanted to maybe choose kind of a simple example, I can choose this, this piece of furniture. What I'll do is I'll just launch into the configuration, and in this case, the configurator is going to take the user through a series of options and features about the product that they might be looking for. So very quickly through here, the user might choose a particular type of material in this case. They may choose the stain color, and the system will show valid stain colors based on the wood species that they've chose. If I choose a different wood species, I'll then get more stain colors or different stain colors that are available. So the configurator always validates and it makes sure that the user makes a valid and accurate selection. There may be help that the user needs along the way, and they can just click on help links to provide some more information about a certain feature or option to guide and help the user through that process. The user can also focus on pricing information, and so in this case, as the user configures the product, we're showing various pricing details. The base price is based on a variety of information, the wood as well as the size. So as I change the size, we'll notice that the base price automatically increments based on those options. There may be some certain features or options that they want to put in, and in this case, they get a credit if they're not, if they don't need the footboard. Can be a variety of different help messages to guide and help the user along the way in that process. And then here, we also have generated the resulting marketing number or part number, as well as some other pricing logic to show the user different information. So very kind of quick and simple configuration experience. We'll just finish that. And right back on my quote now, I have these two different line items. So standard parts as well as configured products with configured pricing and other options. At any time along the way, as I'm building up my quote, I can print a quote document off for the prospect. So we'll just go ahead and hit the print button. There's a series of options that I'll just accept all the defaults. You can That will alter how my quote's going to appear. And when I run this quote, it's a kind of a quick quotation, has a standard cover page that again would have your logos and your information, but it's a typical cover page to the quote. And then I can drill into the line item details where we'll have all of our lines, the pricing information, again, configuration options, images, so we can have a nice professional quote that we deliver to the prospect with the resulting pricing information. That gets generated as a PDF document, that quote document does. So I can either print off a hard copy and give it to the prospect that way, or I can email it directly from here. One of the things that you'll notice is as I've been going through here, the system automatically saves everything for me. So as a user, I don't need to be concerned about saving my work. That's just another productivity tool. Everything is automatically saved as soon as I do that. So in this case, I've built up kind of a simple quote for a couple of products. Maybe I've delivered it to the prospect. I'm just going to go right back to the main page. And I might work on other quotes or with other customers, and so I can navigate around the system very easily and work on different things. Maybe a few days goes by and I want to go back to that quote. Maybe the prospect wants to make a couple of changes or review the quote. So if I come back into my quote search, right here up on top is the quote that we just put in, and I can open it up at any time, and it will bring that quote back up exactly as it was the last time we had it. Now you'll notice that I can work with the quote in either a summary view or I can expand and see all of the details. And so at any time I can choose how I want this to work. If I have 10 or 20 line items, certainly the summary is a nice way to do it. So no limits on anything you see as far as number of products on a quote. And I can use the system as I like. Now as we go through this, maybe the customer has decided they'd like to make a few changes to this quote. So what I'm going to do, first off, is just come up and create a brand new version. So it automatically supports versions, different versions of the quote, and it will track my changes throughout these different versions. So I may choose, maybe the customer didn't want this particular accessory, so I could remove that line. And maybe they wanted to make a change to this product. So if I just hit the change button, that will open it back up. It'll bring it up exactly the way it was when we left off, but maybe there's a change where they want to change the size that has a different price or something like that. So very, very simply and easily, I can manage all my quotes, and I can manage the different versions. So if you notice, if I come back here to version number 1, version number 1 is going to have the 2 line items, and this one is a king size. Or if I switch back to version number 2, we'll notice that it's the queen size with just 1 line item. And of course, I could produce a quote that way, do that exact same print, and deliver this version number 2 with just the 1 line item on it. So again, very simple and easy for the user to do exactly what they need to improve the quoting cycle for all of your sales channel, your dealers, distributors, sales reps. A lot of nice tools to help them work with the customer to go back and forth and get it exactly right. One of the things that you may have noticed along is there's various parts of the application. We've been focused on this, but I can navigate around to different areas, and one of the more powerful ones is a pricing worksheet that we have for the user. Maybe before I go through that, maybe what I'll do is just one other thing so we get a few more things on this quote. Maybe what we want to do on this example is they might be interested in 2 different products, but just slightly different. So I'll use the copy button to make an exact duplicate, and then again I'll use the change to go through and maybe change something again. Maybe we'll change the size. And so now I can see that I have different prices for each of these based on the configuration options. Well, if I go into the pricing tab What this is going to do is it really is a worksheet for the sales user to be able to manage the pricing that they're giving to their prospect. So the way this is set up right now is it's going to show me my total price, but then based on the type of user that I logged in as, I logged in as a dealer, it knows that I get 40% off, so I can see what my cost is going to be for this quotation. I then automatically marked it up based on the customer that I chose, where typically I mark this up. And so the system will automatically calculate my selling charges to the customer based on a variety of different fields, as well as many different options as far as markup or margin or multiplier. So it's very flexible in how the system works. But for example, if I wanted to change this and I wanted to mark it up a little bit more, I can make that change and the system will automatically change that. So as we see, you may have noticed here, I have certain prices in here. These are like the list price, but when I print the quotation document, it automatically takes all of those values into play and shows the pricing that's going to be delivered to the customer. So this is really a nice tool for, again, dealers, distributors, agents, or reps to go through that negotiation process as they're working on the selling price to their end prospect. This allows me to make global changes to the entire quote very simply and easily, but I could also go into individual price adjustments, and from here I'll see every single line that was created, and I would be able to adjust different lines differently. So if I needed to maybe be a little bit more competitive on this one, I could change the markup and have it automatically calculate. Or if I just wanted to say, well, we need this one to be 1,800, I could enter that and it'll automatically backwards figure out what my percentage is. Any of these changes will also show me the effective rate across my entire quote. So again, many different options for the user. As part of the quotation process, there are sort of a variety of other capabilities available for the user. One of the common questions is if this is being used by a dealer or distributor, they may want to add some of their own things into this quote also. So there's different ways that they can do that, but if I just jump in here, first of all, I have some My Items. And so the My Items are a way that the user can add their own information into this. Maybe it's installation, or maybe it's some miscellaneous materials or things that they provide. I'll just go ahead and choose the installation. We'll see it has a price of $125. That's something that I set up as my own particular item. And so I can add 1 hour, or maybe I'm going to add 2 hours of installation, and I'll just add that into the quote. So now at the bottom of the quote, this has additional things that I can then, when I print that quote to the customer, it's going to have my information as well all in there. Now once it gets submitted, of course, only the products are going to go to you, the manufacturer. And we even allow them to do an on-the-fly write-in item also, where if they just wanted to quickly enter a new product on the fly, they could do that also. So maybe there's something like, a materials kit. And, they can put in whatever they want and add this in as well. And so right onto the quote as well, it'll have additional things. So again, all that gets incorporated into the quotation document to the customer that will include any additional charges. Finally, I'd like to look at maybe one other capability of the system, which is kind of a rapid example. And so what I'm going to do is show a slightly different product example. So I'm going to go back in and maybe create a brand new quote. And in this case, I'm going to choose maybe a door, slightly different product. And what we'll see here is it does have some configuration options, but these are some of the main options, some of the most important options that have been elevated right up here to the quote page. So what I'm going to do is make a few choices here, and I'll choose some of the defaults for sizes and options. But instead of going into the detailed configuration, I'm just going to use the Add button. And what that's going to do is it's going to configure this product for me in the background. It took all those values that I entered, and then it automatically configured it. So it determined what the price was, what all of the rest of the options were. We see it's a 30 by 80, and it also created this dynamic image for me as well based on the configuration. So that was kind of just doing a single rapid configuration. This is very nice if the users typically order many different products that might vary just slightly based on color or size or other options. So what I'm going to do is kind of quickly go through and say I'm interested in one in 20 by 80 and use the Add button. And then maybe I'll do another that's 40 by 80 and add. And then another one 24. And maybe one more that's 36. So very quickly, I can enter my information, and what we'll see behind the scenes is the system went through and it configured and built and priced each one of these based on all of that information. So very easy for me to go through using this rapid capability to quickly build out a several line item quote without having to go into the detailed configuration. The other thing that also allows me to do is to make a global change. So again, maybe the customer is interested in some different options, so I could create a new version from here. Maybe in the new version I'm going to do this rapid change, and this rapid change will allow me then to use any of those options and to make a global change. So in this case, maybe I'll choose hickory as a different choice, and then I'm going to apply that, and this will automatically reconfigure, revalidate, reprice all of these line items now based on hickory instead of the cherry option. And so again, I have multiple versions of this quote. I could print off the different versions and work with the customer, but this allows me to very quickly go through that quoting process. So channel sales really manages the entire quotation, right? It handles that process. It allows the different users to go through that, to work with their customers and prospects. And then at any time, once they're happy with that quote, so maybe I'll just go right back into that quote I had. Maybe it was version 2 of the quote that was configured this way. Then I have the ability to convert this to an order. So it's basically a very simple process to convert this to an order. It allows me to review all my information, and then I can just hit the place order, and that's going to, submit this order automatically in SyteLine. It will pass in all of the information. It'll pass in all of the configured line items, all of the pricing, and then give me some information back here about the quote that's been created. So the quote to order cycle is very quick and simple. Very easy for me to manage that and then to electronically pass all that into SyteLine so that it doesn't have to be rekeyed where mistakes might happen, right? That'll go electronically back into the system. So that was a kind of a quick walkthrough of how different users could access the system, different capabilities around the quoting process, as well as, we looked a little bit about some of the configuration and some of the different pricing options. Again, this does support that portal concept, and so any additional capabilities can be added in as needed.